بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده ونستعينه على مداحر الشيطان ومزاجره والاعتصام من حبائله ومخاتله ثم الصلاة والتحية والإكرام على خير خلقه أجمعين محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of here and the hereafter. We praise Him and seek His help from what led the shaitan to be punished and his deceitful acts and traps. We seek protection from shaitan's waylaying. Salutation and greeting to the most select and chosen of all creation, our Prophet, the Holy Prophet of Islam and his pure progenies. Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our 16th program during this blessed month of Ramadan. I humbly and sincerely pray that you are all well and staying safe. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الحكيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ يحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. In the name of God, the most gracious, most merciful. When the earth is trembled with its quake, and the earth casts forth the burden, and the humans cry, what is the matter with the earth? On that day, it will tell her stories, because the Lord had commanded it to do so. On that day, people will appear alone, so that they receive and their deeds can be shown to them and receive the final judgment. There, whoever has done smallest acts of good deed will see it, and whoever had done the smallest iota of evil will be visible and to be seen by everyone. Before we get to the surah itself, as usual, I start with a brief recap of what we talked about last night. In attempting to shed light on Surah al-Adiyat, I stated that Surah al-Adiyat is focusing on one issue, at least the beginning of the surah, in rebuking humans for being ungrateful. Despite receiving all the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their lives, but they, regardless of that, they are forgetful, dismissive of their obligation towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they have the slightest care about the coming day of Qiyamah and the day of judgment, where nothing would remain hidden and concealed, not even the secrets of the heart. By using the metaphor of a horse and a master in that particular surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to remind us that even an animal like a horse, when you attend to it, it shows fidelity and respect towards the master. Isn't it time for humans to show respect and to submit to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when they receive from their master more than a horse receives from human being? And then at the end, I addressed the particular question whether, if we look at the verses of the Holy Quran, we come across a number of verses that chastises humans for being ignorant, ungrateful, etc., etc. And yet we have a number of verses that talk about humans. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created them with unique dignity, with respect, and ultimately they are the Khalifatullah, the vicegerents, etc., etc. And I talked about that from our ahadith, it indicates the essential nature or the essence of human being is pure. It's the circumstantial factors, the nature-nurture dynamic that ultimately leads to the deviation and for humans to go towards sinfulness rather than remain on their fitrah, which is pure. The surah, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, this chapter picks up on a theme that outlined in many other chapters in the Holy Quran, about the uniqueness of the Day of Judgment and certain sequence of events that might happen before that date. Here, there is more special attention is paid to the extraordinary event and feature of that day. This is what is highlighted in this chapter. Every deed done by humans is brought to the light and reproduced, an image, and illustrated. All human labor will be exposed, and nothing will remain hidden, bad deed or good deed. It is due to this fact that everything is exposed that we have a verse in the Holy Quran, اقرأ كتابك. Once all the deeds are exposed, nothing, no small bits are missing, then we don't need, as human beings, we don't need somebody else to read the book for us. It's in front of our eyes. Imagine, if I may use another metaphor, if somebody has a recorded camera and follows you from the moment of birth until one departs, and they all recorded, and then that video is put in front of us to see. Nothing is missing. There is another verse in the Holy Quran that somehow indirectly speaks on behalf of those that are wretched and they have not paid attention. فَتَرَى الْمُجْرِمِينَ مُشْفِقِينَ مِمَّا فِيهِ وَيَقُولُونَ يَا وَيْلَتَنَا مَا لَهَذَا الْكِتَابِ لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها ووجدوا ما عملوا حاضرا. This is in Surah Kahf 49. The book of deed will be placed before every individual. The guilty one, and they are told to look at it. The guilty one approach it reluctantly, only to be stunned by the detail that the book contains, and say, woe on us, this book does not leave out anything small or large. So this point is something that in this chapter, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, comes out later to talk about the detailed action and deeds. No small or large will be missing, is going to be projected on the Day of Judgment. The surah, as usual, the debate between scholars whether it is Makki or Madani. Certainly, if we were to look at the content and the style and the structure and the size of the surah, which is very short compared to the longer one that comes later, it indicates that this is Makki. But certain scholars have opted that it is early part of Medina, so for them it is Madani. It takes its name from the first verse, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, which is reference to the shaking of the earth in the first verse. The first few verses of this chapter provide powerful extended discussion on the quaking and zalzala of the earth, which is said to be one of the events that would take place just before the end of time and part of the eschatological narrative that we have in Islam, and the Judgment Day, which repeatedly addressed in various verses in the Holy Quran. There are just as an example, there are a number of other verses. Ya ayyuhan nas ittaqu rabbakum inna zalzalata as-sa'ati shay'un 'azim. O people, be mindful of Allah. Remember, be conscious of Allah. And be mindful that the quaking of that specific time is going to be huge. In Surah al-Hajj, Quran follows this idea about the quake. And he says, it gives a descriptive and very graphic description of this. يَوْمَ تَرَوْنَهَا, when it comes for those who are present at that particular time. يَوْمَ تَرَوْنَهَا تَذْهَلُ كُلُّ مُرْضِعَةٍ عَمَّا أَرْضَعَتْ. Mothers that are feeding their children, they drop their child and they move. Try to imagine how frightening it is. وَتَضَعُ كُلُّ ذَاتَ حَمْلٍ حَمْلُهَا. And the pregnant women, they abort. وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. And you see people, as they behave, they walk like drunken individuals, but they are not. It's the enormity of the shock that has literally taken their senses away from them. And there are many other. يَوْمَ تَرْجَفُ الرَّاجِفَةُ تَتْبَعُهَا الرَّادِفَةُ. One shake after the other, until ultimately the goal is reached, when everything is flattened and we are moved towards a new beginning. Many other verses also refer to this distress and frustration and fright that humans will experience as they witness this quake and the shaking and so on. Ibn Abbas, there is a hadith from Ibn Abbas that says, narrated from him, that when the earth is shaken, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, was revealed, that surah itself is equal to the half of the Quran. Meaning that if Quran is divided into two parts, equal part, one to do with the hereafter and one to do with this life, this surah compromises the summary of the entire verses that talks about pertaining to the hereafter. Now let's start with a brief explanation about the surah itself. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. When the earth is shaken the way it ought to shake, predestined. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it. We may not comprehend, but it is there. إِذَا means in the Arabic or conditional clause indicating surety and certainty. We have three. Those of you who remember, it goes back way when we were children and we were taught the three adat, shart, or the conditional clauses: low, in, and idha. Low indicates impossibility, in indicates possibility and impossibility, probability, and idha, certainty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses here, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. It is going to happen. Now, we as human may not be able to comprehend the actual physical reality, how it happens, how the earth reels, totters, and staggers around, that ultimately would lead to that quake. We may not comprehend it. But one thing is sure, that is going to happen because it is ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no way out. The wise individuals will be cautioned and advised to be mindful of that reality, rather than be caught red-handed, committing a sin at that time where this thing happened. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. And the earth shall cast forth its burden. ثقل means weight. Here the scholars have divided between exactly what it means. Some people have opted that it is dead bodies that have been buried over many millennium, if not millions, whatever, and then the earth throws this out. Others have indicated that it's reference to buried treasures that have been hidden inside the earth, that minerals and so on that comes out. And others being using the وَحُصِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ that we talked about it, somehow inspired by that verse, say no, it's nothing to do with the physical material things. It's the hidden secrets of the hearts in people's chests that are going to be thrown out, which makes the situation extremely difficult. وَإِذَا الْأَرْضُ مُدَّتْ وَأَلْقَتْ مَا فِيهَا وَتَخَلَّتْ. When the earth stretches itself out and relieves itself of all the burden, all the weight, casts out and empties itself from all these. Another verse in here. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. Humans are shell-shocked. And naturally they ask questions. They are not familiar with the earth, this happening to the earth. And humans say, cry out, what is the matter with the earth? Remember that this earth was giving us stability all the time. Even when we were at the sea, according to another verse in the Holy Quran, the turbulence of the sea, we always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get us back to the land and its stability. Now, the stability of the earth is removed. Naturally, humans get shell-shocked. And humans will cry, what is the matter with it? This description of how terrible the situation is going to be is in reference to all human beings, not just one group or other group. They all will cry what is happening to the earth. يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. Now, in addition to our deed being explicitly presented as an image, we have a witness. And that witness is not going to miss anything. On that day, by the intimation of God, the earth will narrate her story. بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. And explains what its inhabitant did on its back. There is a hadith, there are a number of hadith that once the tafsir is finished, I'm going to focus on them, that how difficult the circumstances, we really have no way out. Our deeds are presented before our eyes. اقرأ كتابك, go and read it. And then we have even our hands, our skin, our eyes, our ears are becoming witness. Then the earth becoming a witness as well. يومئذ تحدث أخبارها. All the stories, all the chronicles, all the narratives, they all come out. The hadith from the Holy Prophet that says, that reports, the earth will testify against every human being, male or female. So many witnesses with their testimony and chronicles ready to witness against us. It's not just the earth. حتى إذا ما جاءوها شهد عليهم سمعهم وأبصارهم وجلودهم. Once they get to that stage, if they need other witnesses, they have their skin, they have their eyes, their ears, they all witness against. Our hand would say, yes, O Lord, on the day of so-and-so, the time of so-and-so, I did this against your command. Our eyes would say the same thing. Our tongue, this is not an exhaustive list, our tongue would report, yes, I lied, I cheated, I backbited, I slandered. On that day, their ears, their eyes, and their skin will testify against them about what they have done. بما كانوا يعملون. يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم. Once they come out of the grave, they wander around alone. All the position, the pomp, the ceremony of the life, they all gone. The families all gone. The only way your family will follow you according to verses of the Holy Quran, when there is a synchronization between the individuals, when they all believers. Otherwise, everyone stand on their own, he or her or his own account. On you, وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. Every human being is coming on the day of judgment as solitary individual. لقد جئتمونا كما خلقناكم لقد جئتمونا فرادا كما خلقناكم أول مرة. The same way that we created you as individual, you have come to us as individual in solitary. Or the time or the blessing, privileges that we gave you as life, you have wasted. So يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم. They come out of the graves and they wander around, so that each one takes a position to receive her or his deed. There is another verse in the Holy Quran that says they care less about their family. They care less about their fathers and mothers, or their children, or their friend or associates. The enormity of the situation is so paralyzing that you think of nothing else but your own deed. ليروا أشتات, wandering around, individual. And remember the surah that we talked about in Qara'a, like moth wandering around with no clear goal. This is it. فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. Whoever has done a small deed of good, they will receive it. And whoever they have done a small iota of bad things, they will be shown. فأما من ثقلت موازينه فهو في عيشة راضية وأما من خفت موازينه فأمه هاوية. This was the surah that we covered in والوزن يومئذ الحق فمن ثقلت موازينه. Again, the same kind of theme. running theme through these verses. So on the day of judgment, once everyone is out, your deeds will be measured, will be given to you, your witnesses will be there, no chance of somehow even questioning of these deeds. As I said, the earth will witness, your body parts will witness, and the image of your deeds are put in front of you. I need to go towards akhbar regarding how important and critical space is for the future. Under the verse يومئذ تحدث أخبارها, that land or earth is going to give its account. There is a hadith from the Holy Prophet. He asked, when this verse was revealed, أتدرون ما أخبارها? Do you know what earth is going to account, or the chronicle, or the statement that the earth is going to give? قالوا الله ورسوله أعلم. We really don't know. The Holy Prophet, Allah and the Holy Prophet knows. قال أخبارها أن تشهد على كل عبد وأمة بما عملوا. A detailed chronicle of everything that male or female subject has done on her back. وتقول, the earth says, عمل فلان, so and so. This deed on the day and the date and the time. فهذه أخبار. A detailed report, or the exhaustive account of what each person has done on time and date, etc. There is another hadith from the Holy Prophet that says, حافظوا على الوضوء وخير أعمالكم الصلاة تحفظوا من الأرض فإنها أمكم. Yes, حافظوا على الوضوء, you always have ablution and be on pure tahara. And the best of deeds that you have is your salat. But this is the point. Be mindful of the earth, because ultimately your destiny will be decided by its chronicle and its account. وليس فيها أحد يعمل خيرا أو شرا إلا وهي مخبرة به. There is not a person on earth that does anything positive or negative unless or apart from that the earth or the land is going to give a full record and account of what they have done. Luqman, in Surah Luqman, verse number 16, يا بني إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأت به الله. Oh my child, if there is anything as tiny as a khardal, which is the smallest seed one could imagine, and hidden in a rock, and that rock could be either in the skies or on earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bring it back forth on the day of judgment. And they are going to be witnessing, so that they become witness for every person. أمير المؤمنين صلوات الله وسلامه عليه says, صلوا المساجد في بقاع مختلفة. Pray on different pieces of earth. Why? فإن كل بقعة تشهد للمصلي عليها يوم القيامة. Earth is alive. It stands as a witness. Imagine yourself in front of the judge in the court, and the witnesses are called. Earth is a witness. So try to pray on as many pieces of the earth as you can, because every piece that you pray on it properly, then they can stand up on the day of judgment and say, yes, so and so prayed on us on this date and this time. This is why Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi is narrated from him that said, when Baytul Mal, the public treasury, was filled and then emptied in justice, at the end of emptying and giving everyone their rights, he would stand in that particular place and offer 2 rak'ah of salat and ask the earth to be the witness. اشهدي إني ملأتك بحق وفرغتك بحق. On the day of judgment, as I stand before Allah, I want this piece of land to stand up and be witness that I filled this place, the public treasury, with justice, and I emptied it in justice. اشهدي إني ملأتك بحق وفرغتك بحق. We have come to the end of this chapter, and we have really nothing more to do apart from asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We really have to be realistic and humble. We really have, if death comes right now, we don't have, Imam Zain al-Abidin in various du'as, Abu Hamza Thamali and others clearly cites this. We really have nothing that would substantiate and present a good case before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us. So what should we do? We have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat us not with His justice, but with His mercy. Otherwise, if Allah wants to treat us and ask us to be with justice, to see what do you have to offer to justify your existence, we really have nothing. And as we move another week, we get into Layal al-Qadr. As we move towards Layal al-Qadr, this is one of the critical issues that we really need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat us with compassion and mercy rather than justice. And still, it's not too late. Half of the month is still there. We can make a change. If we become mindful of the hereafter, we become wise enough to understand that these verses clearly stipulate a real thing. We may not be able to comprehend it because it's Allah's command, ordained by Allah. But either it's a fact, it's going to happen. Let us pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would grant all of us the privilege of finishing properly the rest of the month, if we haven't done so already. And proper fasting, proper submission, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for repentance, and doing istighfar and so on, and giving huququllah and huququl nas, as I pointed out or explained a couple of nights ago regarding Tawbah. It's critical. Nothing during this month will take place, no change, no minimal change would take place in our character if Tawbah is not there. And if we are not regretful about the past, particularly the first two conditions. If we are not regretful about the past and we have no resolution that we are not going to go back. May Allah protect and save all those who put their lives before everybody else and sacrifice their time, their safety, and the comfort of their family for everybody else, inshallah. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.